Imagine opening your laptop, typing a prompt that says, "Create a living velociraptor," and a lab somewhere generates one for you. It sounds like science fiction, but let's think seriously about whether something like this could ever happen. Artificial intelligence today can generate essays, images, even entire videos from a single line of text. That's possible because AI models have been trained on massive datasets, and they can remix patterns they've seen before. Now imagine the same principle, but applied not to words or pictures, but to genetic code. In fact, something like that is already emerging. Tools like CRISPR have given scientists the ability to cut and paste DNA with incredible precision. Just this year, new AI-driven systems for gene editing have been announced that can predict how changes in DNA will ripple through an organism's biology. This isn't science fiction anymore, it's happening right now. So the question becomes, if AI can help us design proteins, modify genomes, and maybe even reconstruct extinct animals, what's stopping us from one day bringing back dinosaurs? The first barrier is data. To generate something, AI needs training material. For language models, that's billions of sentences from the internet. For dinosaurs, that would mean intact DNA. But here's the problem, we don't have it. Dinosaur DNA is far too old, it decays after a few million years, and T-Rex lived 65 million years ago. At best, we have fragments from creatures like mammoths that died much more recently, sometimes preserved in ice. With dinosaurs, there's nothing usable. The second barrier is complexity. Even if we had perfect DNA, growing an extinct species is not as simple as pressing print. You'd need a compatible host to carry and develop the embryo. For a chicken, that's possible, they're close relatives of dinosaurs. In fact, some researchers have already experimented with making chicken embryos grow dinosaur-like features, like teeth or tails, by switching certain genes on and off. But creating a fully grown T-Rex would require enormous leaps in developmental biology that we're nowhere near achieving. Then there's the ethical barrier. If we could do it, should we? Reviving a velociraptor might be possible one day in theory, but what kind of life would that animal have? Where would it live? What if it carried unknown diseases? And do we want to take responsibility for releasing predators from the past into ecosystems that aren't built for them? That being said, the pace of biotech is accelerating faster than most people realize. AI is already helping design new enzymes, new antibiotics, even entirely synthetic genomes. The idea that one day you could type a prompt, create an organism with these traits, and get a genetic blueprint back is not unrealistic. The difference is that it won't create dinosaurs, because the DNA data simply doesn't exist. What it will create is something new. Hybrids. Organisms designed not to mimic the past, but to solve problems today, bacteria that eat plastic, crops that resist climate change, or even synthetic life forms with no natural equivalent. So what stops us from creating a dinosaur in the future? The lack of DNA, the complexity of development, and the ethical debates that will only get louder as AI biology becomes more powerful. But if you reframe the question, not, can we bring back T-Rex, but, can AI let us design life from a prompt? The answer is almost certainly yes. And that's both exciting and terrifying. Because the real story isn't Jurassic Park. It's that in a few decades, biology could look like programming, and prompts might create living things, just like today they create words and images.